Yeah, so this presentation is called Ad Monetization Design Patterns in Free-to-Play Games. Basically, I'm going to be talking about three or four different kind of fundamental design patterns that I'm kind of seeing in free-to-play game design with respect to ad monetization, right? So I think kind of one of the most noticeable trends, maybe like the last 12 to 18 months with like free-to-play monetization design is the shift towards monetizing with ads, right? And that's kind of what I'm talking about here. It's kind of structured in three parts. The first part is like a market overview, and I'm just kind of sort of breeze through that, but I'll post this online, or I think the video will probably be online. So if you are interested in that data, then you can just sort of check that out later. The second part is kind of like more of an overview of this sort of design challenges in ad monetization, and the last part is kind of practical examples of different design patterns. So about me, I run Heracles. I also run mobiledevmemo.com. I wrote a book called Freemium Economics. Prior to Heracles, I worked at Rovio, Wooga, Skype. I also am building a tool called Agamemnon. It's currently in closed beta at the moment. It's an analytics tool for user acquisition. It's free. It's in closed beta, so it's invite only. If you want to play around with it, I've given out this beta code for exclusively for people that are in this room. So if you want, that's the beta code, CCTLV123. So if you want to play around with it later, just go to troy.agamemnon.co, and that'll let you register. So state of the app economy. Growth of mobile advertising continues unabated. I probably don't need to tell anybody in this room that. It's growing all the time. Actually, this morning when I woke up, there was a new study said mobile is basically overtaken desktop advertising, and it grew something like 80% year over year. That's a good number. This is Facebook's last, so not the most recent quarterly earnings statement, but the one before. The most recent one wasn't available when I was making this. But you can see, all of Facebook's growth is basically driven by mobile advertising. Google is the same way. This is Alphabet's 10Q for Q2. And video is driving the growth. So it's the mobile advertising is growing really fast, and what's kind of behind that is the growth of video, right? So this isn't growth in like banners or pop-up, static interstitials. It's all video. And you see this projection. 2019, basically video, this is video ad spend, and you see by 2019, mobile is expected to match desktop, which is pretty staggering, right? Mobile video is not really that new of a thing, or that old of a thing, and by 2019, it'll basically be matched with desktop. Part of the reason that's growing is people just watch a lot of mobile on their devices because it's a really convenient way to consume content. And you see here that percent of smartphone owning millennials that reported using each device to watch video content, and smartphones is higher than TV. So you've got basically millennials they're watching more video on smartphones than they're watching on TV. Basically the same kind of sentiment here is people expect mobile video to continue growing. And then, again, video ad spend has doubled over 3 years. More stats. And so kind of as a result of this growth in video, or maybe because of it, networks and publishers are facilitating kind of consumption of video with new ad formats and new tools, right? So this Facebook Live is kind of Facebook's foray into like live video broadcasting, kind of like Twitter, Periscope, and Snapchat. And what they've done is they've created technology to put ads into live streaming video, which is pretty cool. Snapchat kind of announced a while back that they're kind of building out this big new API, and they expect to have done $1 billion in revenues for 2016. Maybe it was 2017. Yeah, 2017. And so again, another kind of tool that Facebook has provided for publishers is that they allow you to automatically caption your videos, right? Since most people are using their mobile device with sound turned off, especially without headphones in, Facebook has basically created a tool that auto captions your ads, right? So if you're doing an ad, especially like a brand ad with a lot of like dialogue, then Facebook auto captions it for you. It's specifically for advertisers. Snapchat building Facebook-like targeting functionality. YouTube building tools to help small businesses bring their advertising into mobile and into video and specifically onto mobile. But we're still in the Wild West, right? Things aren't super sophisticated or totally instrumented yet, right? So there was a big kind of scandal recently about Facebook having overstated its video metrics for like 2 years, and then which it apologized for, and then it turned out like a couple weeks later, basically Google had been doing something similar for about the same amount of time. And ad fraud is rampant. This is from Apps Flyer, just kind of showing like kind of the instances of ad fraud, and you see that there's some pretty strong hotspots, right? So that's a big fear for advertisers on mobile. It's that your money's being wasted. It's being used to show ads to bots or to get clicks from bots or for whatever, and it's substantiated. The fraud is a big problem. So that said, that's kind of the backdrop for the presentation. Again, that wasn't supposed to be kind of like walked through at a sort of slow pace. That's just general theme. So if you want to go through each data point, you watch the video or probably just check it out online. So what is the app monetization opportunity with video, right? So I'm a developer. I want to monetize with video ads. Let's say I'm building a game, and I want to start from scratch, right? Because I think a lot of what you see in the market that utilizes video ads is kind of like slapped on top of the game that's already built, right? So I've got a game, and I sort of throw some rewarded ad placements into the game, and I make pretty decent money. But let's say I want to start from scratch. I want to build a game around video ad monetization. What is my opportunity there? Why would I want to do that? Well, I want to tap into growing video advertising budgets on mobile. So you've not only got all of the big advertisers, existing advertisers moving into mobile video, but you've got totally new advertisers moving onto mobile video that were kind of scared off from mobile in that sort of first wave, but like the big brand advertisers who now feel comfortable that mobile facilitates their brand messaging in a way now with video that it didn't with just like pop-up interstitials or banners, right? So like if I'm Ford or if I'm like Samsung, I probably didn't want to dump a lot of money into mobile before because it's not really good from like a brand optics point of view to have like a really small, ugly banner. But now that there's like this rich video and people can kind of like engage with my brand, it does make sense for me to consider putting a bunch of money into mobile video. And that's, as me as a developer, I want to take advantage of that. I want to build that into my game and make money from it. And as a result of that, there's a lot more demand for mobile placements. And I have all these eyeballs from my portfolio, DAU, and I want to leverage that and make money off of it. And I also want to kind of prepare for the future, right? So I want to be ready for that point in time when I don't have to like throw a bunch of SDKs into my app to serve ads or deal with a bunch of like human beings. If there's a problem, I want to prepare for like a totally programmatic, direct, API-driven future. So I want to get started on that and build these placements into the core loop of my game and build an economy around video ad monetization. What's the dilemma I face? So that's these are the opportunities. This is the opportunity that I'm confronted with. Here's the dilemma that I'm confronted with. How do I monetize? So if I'm putting an engaging video ad in my game, and that's part of the core loop, how do I monetize users with that ad in a way that doesn't displace their attention from my app, yet still converts well enough to deliver high CPMs, right? And I think this is kind of like the fundamental. Well, I mean, as I said, it's a dilemma that developers face, but it's something that a lot of people overlook, right? So I think generally, and this is kind of like probably one of the bigger, more prominent types of engagements or points that come up in the engagements I do with the clients is, okay, well, how do we decide who to show ads to? And I think the gut instinct reaction is, okay, I'm just going to show ads to people that don't pay, right? People that pay are segmented. They're over here. They're never, ever going to see an ad. Everybody else sees ads. And that doesn't really impact the balance of my revenue stream because, well, the people that pay are only like, let's say 2.5%, 3%, maybe max like 5%, right? So most people are still going to see the ads. Problem is, if you're only showing ads to people that don't pay, well, if they click and download the game for the ad that they saw, they're not going to pay in that game either, right? And so eventually, the people that are downloading, the people that are receiving these clicks are going to realize, hey, this app doesn't actually send us good players. I'm going to stop bidding on those placements, right? Eventually, your CPMs are going to drop. If the only people you ever send away via ad clicks are non-spenders, non-payers, then your CPMs are going to drop because those people aren't worth anything, right? So you have to strike a balance. Firstly, okay, I want to monetize via ads in like an engaging way because that's the whole point of video, and that's what makes it really valuable to have these kind of placements in the game, is because they connect to the economy, and a lot of times they connect to the IAP economy through like rewards and stuff. So it's part of the engagement process. But if it's too engaging, if the ad is too engaging, then people are actually going to be like, hey, this is a cool looking game. I want to go download it and stop playing this one I'm playing, which looks worse, right? So that's the first dilemma. The second dilemma is, okay, how do I make this engaging, and how do I make it kind of valuable for the user, and how do I make it feel native, while also keeping users within my game, but making it valuable for the people that are bidding on this placement. Because if it's not valuable, then my CPMs are going to drop, and it doesn't really matter that I'm showing them anyway, right? I'm not making much money. So that's that kind of balance that you have to strike. And I think if you just say, look, that's too complicated, I'm going to go with non-payers, only see ads, that's kind of like the 80-20 solution, right? That's like 80% of the reward for 20% of the effort. But I think if you're primarily monetizing with video ads, you've got to dig a little bit deeper. You've got to go kind of that next level of analysis and really consider, like, how do I optimize this? How do I show the ads to the right people, right? And I think this is where games that monetize primarily through video ads have an advantage, like, on this sort of dimension, right? Because they don't really care. If someone's like a payer, they don't have a deep IAP economy anyway. They're not going to get these long tail LTVs. If you're like a really simple, kind of like one-dimensional game, you primarily monetize with video ads, your IAP economy is really thin. If you find a payer, it's probably better to show them the ads. Because if they convert, they're going to convert later on in those deep IAP games, spend a lot of money with IAPs, which they can't do in your game anyway. And then they're going to drive your CPMs up, right? So they're almost more valuable outside of your app than they are within it, because they keep your CPMs elevated. If you kept them within the app, then they're just only worth the ad views, right? They're only worth as many ad views as a deadbeat who's never going to pay. But outside of your app, they're a spender in this other game. They're driving your CPMs up. They can't do that in your game anyway, so why not push them out? And I think that's, this sounds kind of like maybe counterintuitive, pushing out the high spenders, but if you can't get them to spend in your game anyway with an IAP economy, why not? They'll drive your CPMs up. So anyway, this is kind of like, an analysis point that I'm seeing a lot of developers consider. And it's really interesting. I think it's like an interesting thing to encounter and to think through. So the opportunity, the dilemma, what's the imperative? What must you do with video ads? What should a video ad, how should that exist in your app? You must build an engaging mobile advertising experience on mobile that is integrated natively into your game, brings value to the customer, and is served with intent, right? And so what I mean by that is it's engaging, or it's integrated natively so it feels part of the game. It's not a pop-up, it's not in your face, it's not out of nowhere. That is considered an ad, but if something is integrated into the game, it's integrated to the core loop, it's part of it's part of the economy, then that feels kind of like rewarding. It's like, okay, I have to do this, but it's part of the game. If you just shove a video in someone's face, apropos of nothing, in the middle of the session, that's an ad, right? That's disturbing, that's upsetting. If it's part of the game, it's not really seen as an ad. Brings value to the customer, so that's basically the reward loop. Hey, I'm doing this because I need to. It brings me something. And it's served with intent, right? So again, I clicked to see this. It didn't just, happen kind of randomly. So ads must be native, user-initiated, pull, not push, and integrated seamlessly into content. So it's not a distraction from the app's use case. I've gone through the kind of conceptual stuff, and now I'll move into like the actual practical stuff. So app monetization design patterns. So ads in the content channel, this is the one that most people are familiar with just because of the canonical example of Facebook, right? So this is when ads are sort of seamlessly integrated into the content in a way that makes it look like content. I mean, obviously an ad, and a lot of times they have to be like demarcated as an ad, but it's integrated with the content in the same format as the content. And the reason for that is that you can kind of push a large number of impressions per session that way, right? So yeah, again, the canonical example is Facebook, and probably the most successful example of a company's enterprise value being increased through advertising ever is Facebook, right? So you're scrolling through your Facebook feed and you see ads. You just see them all the time, and they look like content. One cool thing that Facebook is, so Facebook, I think the thing is, this seems kind of static, like Facebook's not iterating on this all the time, but they really are. It's just that you're so used to this content, whatever, like this bucket, right? The format of this block. You're so used to seeing that, then when they iterate on it, it doesn't really feel new, and so you don't notice it. But one cool thing they've started doing is that when you click on, and it's not really an advertising per se, it's not really an advertisement per se, but it's kind of like an ad, is when you click on something that a friend has shared, right? If someone shares like a news article, they have that sort of Insta articles, right? So they've cached the external articles. They pop up in the Facebook app. You read through it, you close it. They've created, while you're reading in the background, they've created another content box below the article that includes articles like that, right? So, okay, you're thinking, what does that do? Well, this is kind of like the brilliance of Facebook, because they implemented this in stages, so it wasn't all in your face. But they did Insta articles like a year ago, right? So that's nice. That's, from a user standpoint, that's awesome. Like, that pops up instantly. It's cached. I don't have to wait. I don't have to leave the app and go back. It's really nice. And it's nice for the publishers too, because it gets their content in front of people without, they're more ready to click on the content because they know it's going to be instant, right? So what does it do? Well, these Insta articles are great. Users love them. Publishers love them. Then what the sort of see more content thing does is it keeps you in Facebook for forever. There's really no reason. I mean, now if you think about it, this is how I browse the news. All the content I need, if I want to dig deeper into this topic, I don't need to leave the app and go to Wikipedia or whatever. I just scroll like through this carousel of like instant content that comes up. I never have to leave Facebook. But I guess my point there is that like they're constantly iterating on that idea to keep you in the app with like really cool, innovative, like technology-based mechanics. And then Instagram is basically the same thing. Another example of this is Rovio content channel. So in my previous job, I was working at Rovio, and we built this, right? And so this was like this pull, basically content box. You click the button, it popped up. And all these tabs were different sort of content streams. And then we also had ads there. And so you'd swipe through in this carousel, and it was meant to be a content feed, which it was, but we'd also have ads for our own products, not external products. Well, sometimes, but mostly internal products. And so basically we created this thing that was content, but we also had ads for our own products in there. So it felt totally kind of seamless and native. Rewarded video as a content driver, sort of another design pattern. So rewarded video serves as the primary driver of content delivery. For example, content is mostly unlocked via video rewards in the app's, most of the game's core use case, right? So I think a really good example of this is the game Flip Diving. I think Flip Diving, if you haven't played it, you should, and you're interested in ad monetization, because this game, I think, has more ads than any other game I've ever seen. Like more ad placements and more opportunities to watch ads than any, but it doesn't feel like really stuffed full of ads, even though it is. Like I deconstructed it for the ad loop for a blog post, and there's just, you could watch like 10, 12, 15 video ads in a single session. Anyway, but the content is almost entirely driven by this spin wheel. So you get a free spin. It's a gotcha thing. You get a free spin every day, but then most of the time you just get coins, right? But there's two different types of content you can get. Most of the time you get coins, and then the other times you get one of these two types of content. But then every time you spin, you can like basically double the coins you got if you got coins, or you can. And then, you get the free spin every day, but then you can watch a video ad and decrease the amount of time you have to wait. But the thing is, like, this is basically how you get new content. This is the only way. And it's like the spins are mainly delivered, because you can pay to spin, but probably not that many people are doing that. Probably most people are spinning via having watched rewarded video ads to get more spins. Nonstop Night is another really good example of this. So the economy basically is on this really harsh kind of parametric curve relative to level advancement. But you always have the opportunity to watch a video, or every 3 hours you get the opportunity to watch a video to get coins, right? So like it basically, makes it sort of adjusts the shape of the economy, sort of like the level advancement curve via the sort of video ad delivery, right? So it basically puts you on this timer of coming back to the game to watch video ads so you can actually advance in the game, because after a certain amount of time, it gets really, really, really difficult to advance without watching video ads. And then rewarded video as a content accelerator. So basically, video rewards increase the pace at which you are given new content. Again, flip diving is another good example. So basically, they give you coins, and then you can watch a video ad, and you basically double. So this happens in two different ways. So the first is you're about to go into a random content delivery scenario. So I'm about to go into a gotcha mechanic. You're going to get some random reward for this. Do you want to watch a video ad beforehand to double or to get some multiplier on that reward, right? So it's, hey, you're about to do this gotcha mechanic. You don't know what you're going to get, but if you watch a video ad now, you'll get a multiplier on what you will eventually get. And then the other option is to do it afterwards. Like, so you did the gotcha thing, you got the reward. Now you can watch a video ad, and you can usually double that reward, right? There's tons of examples of this. This is just, I think, the one that came to mind first, but I mean, this is really common. And the last one is brand placements as a content extension. So basically branding content with ads, branding content with some sort of external IP and putting that into the game, right? So it's an ad, but it is game content. Two examples of this from like messaging apps are Facebook. When they did the Despicable Me promotion, they had just like a bunch of stickers that the users got for free, and they loved it, right? Because it's free content for me. I love it, but it's also brand. It's also promoting a movie. And then Line does this a lot, so you can buy sticker packs or get sticker packs for free that come from big brands. But I think my favorite example of this from gaming is Crossy Road, which basically has all these characters that are available that a lot of them are from other brands, right? So it's content, people like it because it's new content, but it promotes something else. It doesn't feel like an ad, even though it is. It's promoting this other thing. So thank you, that's it. Thank you very much.
I have one quick question for you.
Yeah.
In the on-air world, it's 30-second spot. You see a lot of 15s in online and on mobile. What do you think is the perfect length for a video ad?
I watched this excellent presentation from Unity yesterday, and they said that 22 seconds they thought was like the optimal time. I mostly see 30 seconds.
Seems long to me. You don't think it's in the middle of a game to wait 30 seconds?
Look, I mean, I would never sort of like evaluate this based on what I think. I would just test stuff, right? So I mean, if 15 seconds works or whatever, go 15 seconds. It's just like kind of make a bunch of different variants, test them all out, and whichever performs the best, use.
All right, great. Let's have a hand for Eric. Thank you
Thanks.
so much.